What's going on, Red Devils? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Just United. We're back and it's a great time to be back because we're heading to the final in Bilbao. We're going there again and we're coming home with that trophy. 1 foot in the final, 3-0 win away from home. Who would have thought? And I'm joined by my very own Devil's Advocate, M-Flows.
Yes, people. It's M-Flows. You already know, man. It's good to be back on the show, man.
And we're also joined by newbie, Peter Sahota.
What are we saying, everybody? Are we doing? Listen, book your tickets now. Bilbao, it's coming home.
100%. 100%. But you know what? It's a great game. And we're going to start off talking about one of the players who I thought had an amazing game and he had an amazing hand in the first goal, Harry Maguire, because this guy, for that goal, he crossed it into Casemiro and the rest was history because, honestly, I could watch that goal back all night, especially from Harry Maguire. What do you boys think?
Mate, put him anywhere on the pitch, he's the best player. He's the best player there, mate. Best forward, best right back, best right mid, best centre back. Honestly, I remember saying to you when we were watching the game, while he was on the wing, I was like, he doesn't need to be there. He needs to be in the box. Put it in the box. Why are you there? And then he shut me up real quick by that. That was a ball. I didn't see the winger putting a ball that good. This geezer puts in a ball at a centre back and gets us our first goal. Like, I gotta say, Harry Maguire, from what he's been through with United, from like the highs to all the lows of him being turned into a meme, him being turned into everything, all the way from now coming back and being almost like United's saviour and coming in with big goals like Leon, like coming up with an assist today. You gotta just rate this guy, man. Like 100%. This guy has gone through everything, like the range of emotions a player can go through, and he's come out on top even stronger. Like, it's just hard not to love this geezer's story.
I agree, and you know what? I think having the captaincy before made him come through that because I think any other player that's been through what he has been through, if they didn't have the captaincy like he had, I don't think they'd have the character to come back from it. But it shows he's a true leader. And you know what? He's doing exactly what Ruben Amorim wants. He just wants players to go and put in a performance. Doesn't matter where he's asking you to play. Doesn't matter what your position is. Play for the badge, exactly. Yeah, and he's doing the exact same thing that he's done in and out of each team and each manager that he's played for. And do you know what? Saying that, do you know another player who's saving Amorim's skin right now? Casemiro, because this guy, doesn't he look like he's at home? He's literally looked like he's at home, doesn't he? Playing against these like European teams, he just looks class. And do you know what? It's taken him 33 games in the Premier League season to get up to speed. But oh my God, he looks at home on that European stage. And you know what? It's all the experience we need in these kind of games because there's been times where, you know, people are saying, oh, he should have gone, let's sell him to Saudi.
He changed our mind, man. Like, you got to say, like, I'll agree with you. I think a lot of United fans will agree with you. I love Casemiro, like, ever since he was at Real Madrid.
Oh, yeah, you love him now.
I love Casemiro. I always have. When he first came to United, it was clear he was levels above. He set set that tone. I didn't actually realise how good of an actual facilitator and how good he could dictate play in that first year. I just thought he was like...
No, this is what he does, you know.
Midfield warrior, break up the play, leave it. And obviously, second season, it was clear he wasn't the same player. Like, it was a complete night and day difference. It did look like he put on a little bit more weight. It did look like he lost his legs a little bit. And so I think as a United fan, when you're looking at him, you're seeing a player like in his 30s on a high wage, you'd probably think if we could get a good amount of money for him, we
to reinvest in the squad. But
exactly, but
I'd want to go back to my point that without his experience, we can't do anything in this competition because when I say like his legs are gone and things like that is because in the Premier League, if he's sliding about and he's putting in tackles and he's expected to do a job, when he's doing that, there's going to be times where players obviously have got a lot more pace than him and they're going to go past him. And if there's nobody covering, which thankfully today everybody was putting in a shift and they were covering, you know, it comes off the right way. And you know what? I'm pretty sure he's going to be going back and being proud of that performance because there's going to be people out there that said that he's finished. Like Jamie Carragher said, he said, leave the game before the game leaves you. And you know what? I like to see him eat his words because after that performance, Casemiro run the show all over the pitch, putting in tackles, and he got himself a goal, and he even contributed more to the team, which most players would struggle with in this kind of competition.
I think the thing is, I think Ugarte being next to him helps a huge amount, because I think one of the main things that I noticed last season is he had midfielders that were getting strayed very far up. You talk 100%. About Kobe Mainoo, who was still young, he's still quite an aggressive, progressive player. Talk about people like Bruno Fernandes, who, I love Bruno, but sometimes he can himself be a little bit a bit of a victim to his own lack of discipline. And he was getting left on island. Now Ugarte, having that extra set of legs, having that little bit of an extra man that has that defensive mindedness, I think this is allowing him to just focus on what he does best, which is hold his line, hold his position, dictate, and then in possession, he's never ever been anything short of quality.
100%.
He's showing it. He's having a renaissance under Amorim later on in this period. And you know what? It's a joy to watch. And I'm just really glad that, as a United fan, I'm watching it unfold as we watch.
I think we can all agree he's always been a very, very strong technical player, and we know he can play those ball through. And I think it's been unfairly criticised at some points in this season. He's taken a lot of stick for a lot of the poor performances across this season, but I think today, he's had a standout performance, and without his goal, it really did look like Bilbao were up for the game.
Yeah,
the first 20 minutes they were like all over us. And really and truly, they should have been 1, maybe 2-0 up, especially with that home atmosphere. The stadium looked like it was rocking, and when it doesn't come then United turn it around and get that first goal, like it really did start from that goal really, and that goal set the tone for everything else then, because United just were more confident and grew into the game a lot more.
And do you know what? Who I think set the tone today?
Go on.
As he always does, our captain, Bruno Fernandes, from the penalty spot. Before we get to the penalty, I just want to put out there, I don't think it was a red card. It could have been a yellow. I do not think it was a red card. That was very harsh, because there were still players there, and it's not guaranteed to be a certain goal, especially with Højlund up top.
I think they made the ref, man. I think Fergie was doing his black magic in that man, the little collar jaddu going on there, boys.
Me and you had a little bit of a conversation in the pub. Like, I said I didn't even think it was a penalty. I think, personally speaking, like being a little bit more objective, if that happens against United, I'm throwing my point at the TV.
Yeah.
Like, it was, it was kind of like, if a referee had given it and been like, no, that's not a penalty, we would have carried on. I think it was soft, man. I'll be honest. I think it's soft. I ain't want to complain, because we've had some calls go against us this season. So you know what? Maybe it's just the law of averages. Some have to go for us, but I think. And
I'm glad that one did, I'll be honest. Because it could have been a completely different game.
The perfect time, listen, a semi-final to get it done is done. But
coming on to who I want to speak about, who set the tone for the game, Bruno Fernandes, from the penalty spot, as cool as you like, ice cold, some might say. Without him, I do not know where we would be this season. 19 goals, brilliant football. And you know what? He turns up in these games. People could say he throws his arms around. He's not the best captain. Say whatever you want to say about him, but he's the best player that we've had since Fergie.
You know what? It was very interesting because you pulled up a stat earlier as well about Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, like the thing with Bruno, I think his performances really got under the radar, and it's because he started at such a high level that like when his performances peaked off, it was almost like a sudden drop. Oh, he's playing awful, and he never was like. The stat that I've just pulled up right now, that was his 31st goal involvement, 30th and 31st goal involvement in 32 knockout stage appearances within the Europa League. So that's 19 goals, 12 assists, which is the most of any player since the Europa League was rebranded in 2009. I mean, if there was literally an example of just a one-man team, of somebody doing it all, of putting a team on his back, there is no other poster child for that than Bruno Fernandes. Over the last couple of seasons, what he's done, you just can't knock him.
I want to get on to another player who, again, from a lot of fans, I'm in a big Manchester United fan group, and there's one person who's always on this player's case, and that player is Manuel Ugarte. Class First 20 minutes, I thought it was trash. I'll be honest. We were trying to get a foothold in the game. He's trying to string a few passes together, and they weren't coming off, and we were giving away cheap chances. And I thought he looked off it, but then slowly, towards the end of this first half, he grew into the game, and it was brilliant. And that flick to do that flick under that pressure with 3-4 players around you, to have that awareness to do that flick, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I think Ugarte has got quite a lot of unwarranted hate from the United fan base, from certain members of United fan base.
PS, we're talking about you, by the way. We're talking about you, by the way.
But like, listen, as I said, there's a reason Casemiro's having his renaissance. There's a reason that, like, in Europe we are playing a certain brand of football that perhaps we're not able to find that form in the Premier League. But like
in the Europa League, yeah, not.
listen, you gotta basically perform in whatever competitions you're in. You know what I mean? Like it is. What it is.
And I think Amram hit the nail on the head. He said that we have more time to think on the ball,
exactly,
because it's not as fast paced. And you know what? I think getting to know each other's movements and how you're going to move around and pass the ball and who's making what run, it takes a bit of time, and to have that a bit of time, because I'll be honest, that second half we could have run away with it. We could have scored 4-5 more goals easily with the amount of chances. Mazraoui hitting the crossbar, Bruno with the shot hitting the crossbar as well, and we had lots of chances, we just couldn't put it to bed. And it takes time to figure out and gel together. And in that second half, with the 3-0 cushion, we were able to find each other and even try some things that they might have done in training, to think, okay, let's try it out now. You do not have that time in the Premier League.
Come back to that point. Like, we had this conversation, like, the Premier League is kind of its own entity in terms of that fast-paced nature and the way in which we're kind of unable to play at the back. I think in Europe, United still have that fear factor element. Teams still turn up and they think, we're playing Man United.
100%.
And you can see it, like, I mean, we saw it against Leon.
Even coming into that fear factor, it's not just the fear factor of playing Manchester United. It's being able to think to yourself, this team's not doing very well right now. Like in the Leon game, Ryan Cherky, yeah. He said before he came to Old Trafford, we are going there to win. Players like that from foreign teams want to put in a performance because they might be able to get a move to Manchester United. And you know what? They do that. But they do that, and he did perform well in the second leg.
Even if you're not going to United, if you want to perform well at Old Trafford, that's going to make all of the world highlights.
I definitely agree. You guys still, even though you're playing rubbish, like at the moment, well, not today, but as in across
in
the
general,
whole season, and the last few seasons haven't been great. I still do think you show up against United and you do put yourself on the radar. You do put yourself in that buyer's window, and people will more likely come and put in a bid for you, whether that's those clubs that are fighting for those Europa League places, or
just at any Premier League club,
Champions League places as well. Yeah, I do agree with you on that.
I think, you know what, to summarize everything, I just want to say I saw a team out there today that was together, and if you can't tell, just look at this celebration. Garnacho's running behind Bruno, Ugarte is right behind him, and then so is Højlund. They're all in this together. They know everything's on the line to win the Europa League. And I hope we do it.
They're playing for the manager as well.
And that's it.
They're playing for the manager.
Back the manager. Back the team. We're heading to Bilbao. We'll see you there at the final.
Book your tickets.
And don't forget to book your tickets. That was the match review. And you know what? It was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure. And thank you for joining me today, boys.
My pleasure.
And we'll catch you on the next one, guys. See you later.